welcome back everybody. Coach Mahoney today. So Coach, really strong start as a brand new head coach over here. This program lost a lot last season with Coach Roy and the 8 seniors leaving, as we've talked about a lot. Some really big challenges to overcome, and then they hired you. So I just want to talk to you briefly for a minute about like the whole process of getting hired to come over here and just what this whole, introduction to Hopkinton was like at the beginning.
Yeah, well, first off, it's great to be here. I appreciate it. I was a little surprised, obviously, someone like Coach Roy, who's had the success, to see it open up and coming off a Final Four bid. With it open, it was obviously something I was interested in, put in for it. I was fortunate to get the call back and get the interview. And, you're nervous because, my first thought was I know how successful Hopkinton's been, not just in basketball, but in I think most sports. I always seem to see they're always at the top. And then, like you said, how successful Coach Roy was. So, you coming in and just, I thought the interview process was great. They had a great team, that asked, fair questions, important questions, and they knew where they wanted to go. And I was fortunate that. It was a good fit. As far as, again, coming in with those first impressions, I knew what those expectations were. That was something I was very clear on. We expect to be competitive, even with changes. And, we've been fortunate to be able to hit the ground running and do that from day one. And the girls really did kind of buy in right away, which was nice, because every time, you're bringing in a new coach and replacing somebody that they've been used to for so long, you always worry, or not worry, but wonder how that's going to go. And the girls have been great, and school's been great, and have no complaints.
So over the off season, you had your summer league and everything. How do you feel like your players kind of adapted to accepting you versus Coach Roy? Because like Coach Roy, like you said, massive shoes to fill, somebody who they've really enjoyed having as their coach for a long time. Did you feel very welcome here initially, or did it take some time to get comfortable with you as a coach for the program?
Oh no, the girls were great from day one. Like I said, they bought in. And in the summer it was I don't think we put a ton in. It was a lot of just coming in. Open gyms were really that. It was getting to know the players and them getting to know me. There were little changes obviously here and there that we started to implement, but we kept things pretty basic over the summer. Started to put some things in at the end, but the girls. I said, right out of the gate at the end of the summer, I'm never gonna have to worry about their work ethic. I'm never have to worry about their attitudes or anything. They've worked hard from day one. I think there's obviously going to be some confusion early on with certain things when you have someone new coming in, but they work hard. They ask questions, and we were competitive right out of the gate in the summer. We played that summer league in Manchester. There's a lot of Nashua, Manchester teams, some D2 teams. We were the only D3 team there, and we won 3 or 4 games, and we were in most of them, so it filled me with a lot of optimism as far as what we had once we got into our regular season.
Yeah, something I hear from a lot of coaches is going up against bigger competition like, Division II or Division I schools can be a huge help, just because of getting used to that. And then you're used to dealing with adversity and figuring out how to win when you're playing behind, in the end, with tough moments at the end of games.
Yep.
And then, so with the team, what do you feel like some of the struggles were, if much? I know you said there wasn't much, but just some challenges or miscommunications maybe initially.
I think just understanding, little terminologies, things like that. Some of the things that maybe I was asking, different coaches are going to say things differently. They're going to play, different plays, different sets, different defenses. So I think just adjusting to that a little bit. It was kind of funny because we'd have a lot of the open gyms, and I'd spend a few minutes going over this new drill or going over this thing we wanted to run, and the girls would just look at me and say, "Yeah, Coach, we run that. We just call it something different." So it's kind of that expression of why reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of the things, it was just getting an understanding of we know how to do this, or we know what we're being asked to do, just explaining it a little differently. And then, so getting over that, and then, it's tough in the summer too, getting people, in the gym sometimes, just because I know we have so many athletes that do so many things. So that was part of the reason why we put a lot of stuff in, I think, in the fall as the season got going. So starting new in the summer, trying to put things in, it's a little difficult at times, so you just kind of play. And we always joke we just kind of rolled the ball out in the summer and went, and it's been nice now to have that kind of more kind of time to be able to do what we want to do. But the summer's about growing and developing and getting better, and I thought we were able to do that overall. So
Yeah, certainly. So then, you have the whole fall season with all the fall sports, and then you're coming back here to coach winter sports now that, the season started, and you had this big alumni game right after tryouts and everything. And I love that. That's one of my favorite events we do every year, because you have everybody returning from, all the graduating classes beforehand, who are former players and everything. You have the new coaches, and I like the new tradition of we have all our varsity names up on the wall, and now having Coach Roy was here giving back those names to everybody with the signs, and then also Coach Miller doing the same thing on the boys' side. So I thought that was a really great night. What was your favorite part about that game, and how did that get you to better understand the culture of Hopkinton?
That was probably the best part of it. Is that was my first time really being here and seeing the old players who obviously didn't know me, but getting to meet some of them and see the fans and see the excitement. We've been here coaching JV at Merrimack Valley for 10 years. We've been in this gym a few times, and they've come to us. So I knew there was excitement and energy, but to see that, like you said, at an alumni game, you're walking in and walking out going, man, I can't wait for the season, because if people are excited about this, just wait till we're playing these games that count in the standings. But that was it. The thing that took me, it was competitive. It was a competitive game. It came down to like the last shot, I think, and I'm like, man, both teams want to win. I love it. I love this energy and expectation here. So it was nice, like you said. It was. I think it's a great tradition, and excited to be a part of it. The board thing was really cool. I'll be honest, I've never been at a school where that was displayed. We didn't have that, so I actually came back in, and like the first day was up, I took the picture and was all excited because see my name up there, and so that was kind of fun.
Absolutely.
I was like one of the kids, all excited.
Yeah, I think it's very cool that we do that. Anyway, so then you have the strong start to the season. Halfway marker in the regular season. We got 16 games. We're through 8. You guys are still undefeated at 8-0.
Yep.
Walk us through some of these games. Tell us, some of your favorite moments, some of the challenges that you guys have had to overcome.
Yeah, obviously getting the wins is exciting. One of the things that I've really been excited about is, we have a lot of good teams in this division. It is a very open division. There's a lot of 1-loss teams, 2-loss teams. We've played. The thing I really like, I would put our schedule right now up against anybody's in the division. We've gone on the road to Monadnock, who's very good, Conant. They were finalists last year. Kearsarge, we had Kearsarge here. We just had Monadnock here. Opened with Fall Mountain, is a good young team. So we've had a really good stretch and some good competition, and been able to win them and been able to get the win. So I think it sets us up well. We try to kind of talk about those things during the games where this is what we need. We need these close games. This is what's going to make us better down the road. But it's been a great start. We have a younger group, as you said. We graduated 8, so the girls that have come back have really stepped into that leadership role well. Liz Holmes just doing a great job coming in as a kind of post player for us. Sydney Westover doing a good job, and Shaylee Murdo's picking up where she left off as an all-state player. But having a lot of these sophomores and freshmen step in and just jump in like they're never, we're a part of the program for the last year. It was like they never, they were always here and part of the varsity. It's like we didn't miss a beat. So it's been really encouraging. The competition doesn't get easier. We have Stevens coming up, who's lost 1 game back to back, and we're at Guilford this week. So it's, like you said, it's really good for us to get ready for the tournament. The biggest thing right now is just injuries. We're battling some injuries. We lost, Keegan, unfortunately for the year.
Yeah.
We had Katie, go down yesterday. We're hoping that won't be anything that'll be long term, but again, we have kids stepping in and filling those roles. So, obviously our hope is that they get healthy, and that's the priority. But it's a little bit of adversity, obviously, but there's a lot of teams dealing with that right now too in this division.
Yeah.
So
I feel like there's been, like you just said, I mean, there's been a lot of teams like that. I remember having a conversation with Coach Roy. He made the point to me that a lot of the all-state players from Division III last year aren't playing right now, and there's a number of reasons. There's Concord Christian, who's moved up to Division II.
Yep.
You've had so many seniors depart, whether it be from here, Conant lost a lot, and there's
Yeah.
other programs who've also lost a lot. And then there's just a lot of injuries across the division. So other than Keegan right now, and hopefully Katie's injury is nothing too severe, we've been more fortunate than some other teams to stay healthy overall. So some elements of teams is that they have a strong start like this 8-0 and they start to feel really good, but then they have a tough stretch where maybe they lose a couple of games, and then it's really about how they respond once that happens. For your team, how do you think that your team's able to respond if you're in a tough game at the end and you're in a situation you're not used to being in and you have to come away with a win in a different way than you're used to, or you lose a couple of games and then you have to keep the momentum going even though things aren't doing so great?
That's where I thought the holiday tournament was really good for us, because we actually did lose our first game against MV, ironically, of all teams. We lost that one by 1. We had a shot at the end, and they did a really good job. I know them well. They're very well coached. They did a good job at kind of taking away, where we wanted to go at the end. And that's something we talked about was, these are those moments we haven't been in, and we have to learn from these and be able to grow from that, because it's going to happen down the road. And then we came back, similar situation against Bishop Brady in the tournament. We were down, I think 7 at halftime, and just kind of made some adjustments and came back and had a great third quarter, came back and got the win. Fell behind, against Monadnock yesterday in the third quarter. Kearsarge, had us, I think, late in the game for a little bit, or tied it, forced overtime. So lately we have been in those situations, and I think we've kept our composure, which is the biggest thing, especially with a young group. Your worry, I think, is always, are we going to, panic?
Yeah.
Is it going to get kind of crazy? And that's where having some of that upperclassmen leadership, I think, has come in. They settle us down very well, and I just think we have a mature group that doesn't really panic. We have some things to work on, as every team does, but we've had a few of those situations, and we try to talk through them, and in the locker room, and make sure we understand what's going on. But I think it's been the holiday tournament was good, because it did put us in some of those scenarios that we hadn't been in through the first 5 or 6 games.
Yeah. Frankly, I don't think anybody expected you guys to be 8-0 sitting here in the middle of the season. So I think that's certainly a good feeling that you have to carry forward. What do you think your toughest opponents are really in Division III as you look at the rest of the teams throughout the field?
Going forward on the schedule?
Yeah.
I mean, Guilford will be tough Tuesday. They get up and down the floor. Anytime you go on the road against a good team, I think is always going to be tough. And then we have Stevens back to back. They have a very good player. Girl is I think it's Kylie Bundy is the name. She's second leading scorer right now in the division. I think she's just got accepted to go play at Keene that I saw. So. That'll be a challenge. We'll have to figure that out. But those are the next 3 coming up that'll be tough. And then we end the year with on the road at St. Thomas. They're another one that's, I think, 7-1 right now. They brought back most of their team, as I understand it. I'm still getting familiar with some of Division III, but those will be tough ones. And I'm sure we're going to run into some of these, Conant, Monadnock, Kearsarge type teams again, possibly in the tournament. And those are teams that I think are just going to keep getting better and better too. They've been some of them are dealing with some injuries, getting girls back. So, it doesn't get easier.
Yeah. I think a main element of this early season success has been your style has worked really, really well to what the Hopkinton team knows. I know that we already talked a little bit about it's like some of the same stuff in terms of like just the way that you call stuff, maybe you change it up a couple times in
Yep.
order to just get on the same page with the team. But overall, in terms of your style of like, shooting, attacking the basket, defending overall, how would you describe your style?
Yeah, it's funny. I came in, and one of the things that I think, and I hope was a way to kind of build that trust between, having a new coach come in is, we sat down and I said to some of the girls, what did you run and what works and what can we keep? And so, one of the presses we've had a lot of success with was one that they ran with Coach Roy, and we just kept it. It worked. They did it in the summer. They showed it to me, and I said, oh, we're getting turnovers. Like, we'll keep this. That makes sense. Let's not overthink this. And then some of the plays we've run, they ran already. So there's certain things that was, we just decided to kind of keep doing because they were familiar with it. And then a lot of what we put in, some of it I brought, some of it, we adapted to what we have. I think you'll see we do a lot of kind of pick and rolls, high screens with Shea, just trying to create those mismatches with the size we have down low. But I don't consider myself a yeller or a screamer. I don't think Coach Roy was either. I think we were both very similar with that. So, you try to just, especially with the younger group, I think, encourage, and work through. They're going to make mistakes. All players are going to make mistakes. I'm going to make mistakes. And it's just working through those and growing from them, and just trying to keep things loose. And one of the things, I was telling them yesterday is we're trying to put in kind of more of a motion kind of set thing just to have something to go to, but just emphasizing, we're not trying to be robots. We want to play. I want you to read plays and understand, like, if you have a lane, you drive, and you read the defense. If they help, you kick. If they don't, you attack. And, we want to try to use our defense. That's something we emphasize. Defense is our strength. Our press, I think, is where we're getting known for a little bit. I mean, let our defense lead into our offense, and then, things kind of come together that way. So, and like I said, they've bought in, so it's been nice.
Yeah. So in terms of like the changes to your style, do you think there's anything that you brought from Merrimack Valley that's like the most different from what they've seen before and incorporated here and has run well, or is there not much there?
I don't know that there's a whole lot that would be different as much as just probably the stuff we're asking them to do. Like, we've got a few different presses we've tried to put in. We've used kind of two primary ones. One of them I brought over. They wanted to run it. They actually knew it from MV. They liked it, wanted to run it. So I'm not going to overthink it. Let's do it. But I think, we've talked, especially lately, early in the year, we actually watched some film, and I was trying to show them, like, we want to run. I want to run. I want to get up. We have a lot of good athletes, cross-country runners, soccer players, and we want to try to take advantage of that. We do feel like, we can go 32 minutes with a lot of teams as far as getting up and down the floor where we're not going to tire quite as much. And I think just kind of continuing to build off that and get back to that. We've gotten away from that a little bit, I think, so we're trying to get back to that, and I think that is probably a little different. That's just, I like to press and run and play that way. I think it's exciting. It gets more kids in the game, gets more kids active, and it's just, creates more opportunities for you. So, just making sure we're continuing to play to our strengths, I think, is especially when you are having success, it's easy to kind of get complacent, and we've been a little more on it in practice as far as, we can't rest on our laurels right now. Everyone's looking at you now. We got to keep working. So,
final few questions here. Defensively, I know a lot of the players who are back now from last season, they had a history of being a little bit more on the foul-prone side than some of the other players. So I was thinking that you guys might run some zone this year, and I was curious to see that. You guys have also played your fair share of man defense. So when you were, throughout the summer and start of the season planning what your defense was going to look like, what was your thought process in playing man versus zone defense?
I mean, I'm a man-to-man person. I just think it's, you working harder there. You're just making the other team work a little harder. We have a zone that we run. We were running it out of bounds. Just lately, I didn't think we were quite getting what we wanted out of it as far as being able to close out, get rotations and that sort of thing. We went back to just staying in man most of the game. We are trying to put a zone in. it's nice to give teams a different look.
Yeah.
But we haven't used it honestly as much as I anticipated. But that's a lot of the game flow. We had talked about using it against a few teams just to, like I said, kind of mix it up, give them something they maybe haven't seen us do, and then they come out and hit 3 or 4 3-pointers, and you're like, well, we're not going into a zone because they're just going to keep shooting. So the game flow has kind of dictated some of what we've had to do. But we have like I said, we got an athletic group that wants to, and when you want to press and work, that's just my kind of philosophy. I like man, but we'll go zone when we need to and feel we have to.
Over the summer, the NHIAA voted to change the rule with fouls instead of it being, I think it was initially you had 7, then you'd get 8, and then you'd have your 2 bonus or whatever it was at the line. And then once you got to 10, you'd have 2 towards the end of each half. Now it's 5 fouls per quarter before the bonus, I think. So, Coach, with those changes being made, do you feel like that's benefited or it's hurt your team or kind of neutral? I know it can go both ways, but still.
I haven't noticed a huge difference until until we're the team that has those 5 fouls. Then you notice it in the quarter. But it's there's little strategies you can certainly look at with that makes it a little different. But I like it. I think it's kind of nice. There were certainly games where if you had a lot of fouls in the first quarter or something, it changes how you play in the second quarter or worse late in the game where you're trying not to get those fouls. So, it does have its benefits. I think that having that clean slate at the start of each quarter. The kids still get the same amount of fouls, so you still have to manage that and everything. But I don't know. I like it so far, and and then, like I said, until it's impacting us in a bad way, I haven't, you don't notice any huge changes. But there's been 1 or 2 times where it has been nice where a team, they get into that double bonus, and you're able to say, hey, like we're shooting now, girls. You got 4 minutes this quarter, keep aggressive, and you're going to go to the line. So it has its positives and negatives both ways.
I got 2 left. So one of them is there anything about you that you want viewers, parents, players, whoever it is who's listening to know?
I don't know. I try to, and I hope that, when we're watching games, that you see, I certainly get passionate, I get excited. It was funny, someone said they can't hear you across the gym, and I'm watching film, I'm like, well, I can hear myself pretty loudly. So, I enjoy doing it, and this group's been great to coach. And I hope, when people see the way we play, they're just seeing that it's I think it's a fun team. It's a loose team as far as, we're relaxed. We pick each other up. I love the energy here. I love the energy of the girls on the bench. They're always cheering, always clapping, and that's how we want to play. So I just hope when people that are watching and following us and seeing us play see that it's a group that plays together and wants to be together and has a good kind of camaraderie, and you try to foster that environment, and I think that's what we're trying to do and maintain that throughout the program. So.
My last one for you is I think I saw you wearing a Buffalo Bills hat a few times.
Yeah, probably more than a few times.
Yeah. So
I kept it off for the interview.
Yeah, they got the Steelers this weekend for the playoffs. How are you feeling about the Bills going to the playoffs?
Oh, they're going to win the whole thing. They're going to win the whole thing. No, I hope it's the year. They're playing well right now. I was obviously up watching the game last weekend, very excited in Miami. I was glad they're going home. I go out there almost every year. I went out this year with the the COVID stuff. The last few years I didn't get out, but went back to their home opener this year. It's a fun atmosphere. I love the environment. Josh Allen, QB1, he's the man. JA17. But we'll see. I think they can get Pittsburgh, but who knows? I'll be honest, I shouldn't say this, I'm sorry, but I wasn't too upset to see the Patriots struggle this year after the torture I've had for 20 years, but we'll see. I'll keep my hat on until I can't wear it anymore. I know Mr. Reserve gives me some grief for it too.
I can't say that I'm rooting for the Bills and gonna wish the Bills good luck, but I'll wish good luck to you and the Hawks.
I'll take it. I take a championship in Hopkinton first. Thank you.
That's what I like to hear.